Fellow viewers, I've unearthed an extremely rewarding novel. Let me grab your attention with a super eye-catching plot point. The male-led Grant appears to be a composed werewolf pack leader, yet, secretly, he's obsessively searching for his long-lost sister. He'll stop at nothing to find her, even neglecting other pack matters. However, when his sister is finally located, she launches an attack on the female-led Brooke. On one side is blood relation, on the other is his beloved death's safety. What choice will Grant make? And can Brooke emerge unscathed from this interest? Chapter 19. A fortnight had passed, and life in the pack house had settled into a semblance of normalcy. Heeding Grant's advice, it kept my distance from Caleb. His sour glances across the dining hall during meals were met with studied indifference on my part. Grant, true to his mysterious nature, remained an enigma. Our midnight kitchen rendezvous had become a sort of ritual, sharing snacks and conversation, but he steadfastly avoided any mention of what he termed pack business, despite knowing it was my place to pry. Curiosity gnawed at me, wondering what secrets he felt compelled to keep. This evening, however, I had a different mission. I wanted to extend an invitation to Grant for my upcoming ultrasound, remembering his expressed desire to attend my medical appointments. The top floor of the pack house was unfamiliar territory, and I was surprised to find it consisted of only a short hallway with two doors, one at the end and another to my right. As I ascended the final step, muffled shouting assaulted my ears. The door on my right stood slightly ajar, and I found myself drawn towards it. My footsteps as quiet as I could manage on the polished wooden floor. My pregnancy heightened senses picked up the heated conversation, and I leaned against the wall, my curiosity overriding any sense of propriety. We have bigger things to worry about right now. Grant, Caleb's voice, laced with frustration, carried through the gap. Grant's response was swift and biting. What then? I am supposed to give up. It's been nearly 6 months, and you barely have anything to show for it except some security photos and a few eyewitnesses. It might not even be her. Caleb's practical nature shone through his words. It is her. It is her. I know it. Grant's shout made me flinch, the intensity of his anger palpable even through the door. It never witnessed Grant in such a state. His fury was usually a silent, deadly force. But it was the mention of this mysterious her that truly piqued my interest. A tense silence followed his outburst before someone cleared their throat. Grant, we're not saying to give up, but it's been 6 months. We should have found her by now. Abby's diplomatic tone was unmistakable as she tried to mediate. The alpha of the Cypress pack said they saw her a month ago. She could be anywhere by now. And as much as I hate to agree with Caleb, he has a point. We have other things to worry about. I know, but I need to find her. Grant finishes. Grant, Caleb sighs. I need to find her. Grant grits out over Caleb. No more is said, and I don't have time to move when someone opens the door. Caleb emerges. His frustrated face looks to me, then laughs mockery. You have a peeping mouse out here, he says into the room. I glare at him as he brushes past me to walk down the stairs. After I am sure he is gone, I take a breath before peering my head around the doorway. In Grant's office, I am greeted with 2 pairs of eyes looking at me, one pair belonging to Abby and the other to Grant. I try and pull a non-guilty smile, but I am not fooling anyone as I see the glare Grant is giving me. Hi. I just wanted to talk to you. I see I caught you in a bad time. You'll come back later. I try and get away. Brooke, Grant says, slight warning in his authorized voice, and I sigh, coming back to stand in the doorway. How long were you out there? I bite my lip. Long enough to know that you're looking for someone. Grant sighs before looking at Abby, who is trying to slyly nod her head in my direction, although it's obvious. He seems confused, but then his eyes piece hers once he understands whatever Abby is trying to point out. Close the door, Brooke, Grant says softly. In defeat, and I step inside his office, closing the door behind me. His office consists of his desk, which is modern with a silver desk lamp and a sleek laptop, because it is a large room. Across from his desk stands another table which is sprawled with a marked map, papers, and photos. What I am about to tell you cannot be shared with anyone else in the pack besides Abby. Caleb and me. Understood. Understood. I say. Starting to feel nervous of what he is about to tell me. Who this her is. Am looking for my sister. Grant facts and it takes me a minute for the words to register. I thought you said. I stumble out, but Grant cuts me off. Dead. I said that because most of my family is dead and I want this to be kept private. If the wrong person got information about my sister, a shadow being out there, she would be in danger. I nod my head, and understanding hunters will go to any lengths to make sure that shadows are gone from the earth. Grant has every right for it to be secret. Is that why you went to the cypress back? I ask, putting two and two together. Abby nods. She was seen on their territory the day before we left. We searched but found no trace. I walk over closer to the table, my eyes lingering on the map. She seems to be going all over North America. I state, looking at the markings. The sightings all over the country. I know, but there has been more sightings of her in New York, more than any other state. Abby says, pointing to the state we are currently standing in. I notice they have marked the area where our packed territory is, and it's interesting to see the other border markings not only for New York packs, but the whole of America. It seems clear in my mind. You might be looking for her, but did it ever occur to you that she might be looking for you? Grant furrows his eyebrows at me, looking at the map. I then draw my gaze to the photos on the side. I pick them up to see the photos shot to be either security footage or detective quality photos of a woman. I can tell in some that she has dark hair like Grant, but she is always wearing a baseball cap or sunglasses, so I can never see her full face. Although something is tugging on my thoughts. A familiarity about the young woman I am seeing in the picture. I flip through some more pictures before I get to the last one. It's a picture taken of her front. Her lean body in jeans and a t-shirt. Her baseball cap can't hide her face this time. Pale green eyes and waves of dark hair. But what makes me remember her is that fierce look in her eyes. Calculating and clever. It hits me harder than I thought as I breathe out a gasp. Raina. The room seems to go still as I study her face again. It is her. What did you say? Grant breathes out and I look up to meet his shocked gaze. Your sister is Raina. I ask, shocked myself. Then that means you're. Things start piecing themselves together in my brain, but they are interrupted by Grant. How do you know my sister? Grant questions, and I look down at the photo again. A sad yet funny huff comes out of me. The irony in this world coming back to bite me. I was ordered to kill her a year ago. Chapter 20 Flashback 1 year ago. Brooke. My name is shouted from behind as I close the boot of the car, grabbing my overnight bag beforehand. The location of the next meetup point is the middle of no man's land in Nevada. And I am not talking about the Vegas Strip, but the full-on desert with tumbleweeds. My last mission was just completed. The rest of my squad went back to L.A., but I have been assigned here to meet up with Barry, the head agent of our organization. I turn my body to see Jeff, with his sandy blonde hair and his skin lightly kissed by the sun. I smile at him. He's a few years older than me, but can be as mischievous as a 10-year-old sometimes. I didn't realize you'd be here. I walk beside him to the front door of the old wooden shack. It's boiling out here, and wearing long black leggings and a t-shirt is not helping me cool down. Barry and I finished up that case in Utah a few days ago. Jeff informs me before tilting his head up to look at the boiling sun. Damn, I miss Salt Lake City. Can't say I've even myself. I swing the bag over my shoulder. Well, besides the two maniacs we shipped off. Not bad place to be. I'd much rather be there right now. And why are we here right now? Barry assigning us to a new place. I question, finding it odd we aren't meeting in our HQ back in Law. Jeff smiles. I've heard that Barry has something quite special for you. He winks at me, which causes me to roll my eyes. He opens the squeaky metal door that looks to me Barley holding, allowing me in first. Inside there is barely a temperature difference. A few tacky fans blow about in the small den. Inside is basically just a table, a sink to the side, and a door leading to another room, probably a bedroom. Sitting at the table is Barry. The heat causes his muscles to be pulsing, and his skin slick with sweat, which gives his bald head a slight shine. His eyes tilt up when he notices my presence. "Brooke, sit." He gives a small gesture with his hand to the chair across him. He is a man with few words and few smiles of gratitude. A report from Denver. Successful. Both females taken away. They won't be causing any more trouble. I inform him, spotting a pitcher of water on the table, helping myself to some after pouring it into a clean glass. "Good. Next I will be needing you to go to San Francisco," Barry says, watching briefly as Jeff takes a seat next to me. "All right. I will call the team from L." Barry cuts me off before I finish. "No team," he says shortly. I furrow my eyebrows at him, which causes him to sigh. "This next assignment is crucial, is to be done undercover. Being by yourself will cause less attention. Besides, I think you can handle it." I nod my head. This being my first solo assignment, I feel a mixture of honor because Barry believes I can do it. With a sense of fear, I will stuff up. "Who's the next target?" I ask. Barry grabs a stack of photos beside him, tossing them on the table in my direction. I pick them up off the table and look through them. A woman named Raina, mid-20s, a dangerous threat. Our base down in San Francisco says she has been down there for a week, and looks like she won't be going anywhere in a while. A few shots of a woman with unique pale green eyes and defined features that stand out because of her dark hair. And what happens to Raina? When I find her, she is to be terminated. My blood runs cold as I look up from the picture to Barry's face. Not once have I been sent out to kill someone. I was always shipped off to find somebody and capture them to be taken elsewhere. There was bound to come a time when this happens, Brooke, so what am I? An assassin. I spit out. "Brooke." I notice Barry's warning tone. "This is your job, what you signed up for. She is a threat to our country, and you're doing your duty by eliminating her. You leave as soon as possible. You will be briefed at the base in San Francisco when arriving." "Ma, I know. You'll call Jordan to make sure he calls you." I say to my stepmom on the phone. I am currently staking out a coffee shop in San Francisco where Raina has just entered. "Well, if he isn't picking up for me, he probably won't pick up for you," she says, frustration clear in her tone of voice. I still don't know why he went to New York to begin with. I sigh, biting my tongue from telling the truth. I think he needed to get away for a while. After everything that has happened, I drift off as I see Raina walk out of the coffee shop, a cup in hand. "Ma, I really got to go, but I will call Jordan and remind him to call you. Give my love to Dad." She goes quiet on the other side of the phone. "I will. You better come back soon, Brooke. It's not long until." His voice drifts off the crack. I bite my lip, trying to keep my emotions in check. Being on the field right now is not a good time to have a breakdown. It'll be there soon, I promise. Bye, Ma. With that, I hang up, as I am still watching Rain around the corner heading towards the docks, probably do another walk by the water. I have been tracking her for the past week. She has a general routine in the morning and afternoons. Morning is the coffee and a walk. Afternoon is normally getting take out either from Chinatown or a pizza place. But during the day she also explores somewhere different in the city. She doesn't seem to be doing anything sketchy, which confuses me. In the past there was always a clear example of some sort of illegal goods dealership or act of violence. But Raina just seems like she is trying to fit in, getting to know the city as if she has just moved here. She has no friends or a job, which is odd, but that might be why she is talking to people. I stop my thoughts though. I am not paid to make observations but to track people, and now kill them. My stomach knots, but I calm myself down and remember why I took this job. I was making a difference in protecting the country. Night slowly descended on me as the light faded from the sky. Waiting outside her hotel in a different vehicle this time, I finally spot her walking the direction of Chinatown. I casually get out of my car and follow her. My heart is racing as I try and act natural, but at the same time make sure I don't lose her in the midst of a busy Friday night. In the dark, it was hard to keep track of her because of her neutral clothing that helped her blend in. But when she turns down another alley, going the wrong way to Chinatown, my mind says, abort. But the other part of my brain says, dark alley, good place to kill someone. That thought makes me sick. I turn the corner anyway, into the alley, and furrow my eyebrows. Where did she go? I keep walking further down, blending in with the shadows and casually resting my hand on the hilt of my gun under my jacket. And the next thing I know, I am pushed, slammed forward, jarring my wrists as I land on them. I scramble to get up in a second, grabbing my gun and holding it up. I feel a presence behind me, and without warning I swing my fist back, knocking something, an eerie thud hitting the ground. Turning around, I spot none other than Raina on the ground. She growls before clamping her ankles around one of mine and twisting. I crash back into the ground but manage to keep my gun in hand. Raina is on top of me in an instant. Her movements quicker than anything as she stomps on my wrist, making me wince as I let go of the gun. She kicks it to the side and go to look at her face, but I go still. Her eyes glow gold in the dark. She can't be a werewolf now. She purrs, coming to stand above me, her legs either side of my helpless body. Are you going to tell me who sent you? My mind buzzing with my own questions on the fact she is a werewolf. Face stays silent. This makes her mad. She bends down with force, one knee resting on my stomach, which makes it harder to breathe. Let me guess. Your little organization has been looking for someone like me for a while now, huh? You shouldn't have killed us all. I don't know what you're talking about. I state honestly, confused. She growls. S-E-R-O. I had never heard of it in my life, and that must have been obvious on my face because now Raina furrows her eyebrows. But then she tilts her head with a smile. Oh, you're part of one of those little organizations that just do the capturing and delivering. She sniffs me then. A face of puzzlement appears in her expression. You smell familiar, yet odd. Nonetheless, she pushes a little harder on my stomach. Me wheezing out of breath. Why are you here? To take me away. When I don't answer, she continues. To kill me. You're a danger to the country. Her laugh cuts me off. A danger? What have I ever done to endanger the country? I bet they don't even tell you what your targets have done before they go send you to get them and take them away. Again I say nothing, and my anger shows on my face when she smugly smiles. Then she gets up, which allows me to breathe again properly. She doesn't say anything as she turns around and starts walking away. In my anger and humiliation, I grab my gun, still on the ground, and get to my feet. I point it to her, rage burning through me from what she said. She stops. Shoot me if it makes you feel any better. But believe me when I tell you that you're not doing any honorable deed for your nation. You're just doing someone else's dirty work. My finger is shaking over the trigger and I bite on my jaw, restraining myself as I lower the gun. I am not a killer. Am I? As if she knew she counties walking, her body vanishing into the dark, like she was a shadow. Chapter 21. So after that night I did my own research. Turns out she was right all along. I was doing the dirty work for organizations such as S. I finished explaining my story on how I met Raina, Grant's sister, that one night I was actually assigned to kill her. I haven't dared look at Grant through my whole retelling. How could I look him in the eye after admitting all of that? Abby is the one to speak first. You said you faked your death. Is that how you got out? I nod. In San Francisco, I pretended to be in a car accident. As bad as it sounds, I switched medical files with one of the female deceased victims. There's pure silence in the room, my heart beating hard. I had only ever had to explain this story once to my brother. From after my staged death, I went to New York. You didn't kill her. Grant's sharp voice makes me look to him, although I remain my gaze at his chest, nowhere near his face. Why? I try and come up with the right words to say. I am not a killer, and killing a werewolf would be like disowning my family. And if they knew what I was actually doing, they probably would. Your sister was right. I should thank her. You will thank her. Grant sate simply walking past me and Abby without a second glance. When we find her, He leaves his office, keeping the door wide open as if it is an indication to also leave. I feel upset that he would walk away, although I know he has every right to be angry with me right now. I turn my attention to Abby, who lets out a heavy sigh. Well, that was an overly melodramatic afternoon, she states, and I try to pull a smile. But I feel emotionally drained from all that I have said and been told beforehand. Don't worry about Grant. He's always been the brooding type, and it's defiantly not the first time he has walked out of his office. I don't say anything but nod, trying to seem like Abby's ways of cheering me up have worked. But it seems with Grant we take one step forward and 2 steps back. I can't appear to do anything but stay in an awkward position with each other. A one-night stand turned out to involve me, the woman who is now pregnant with his child and also tried to kill his sister. It just goes to show that it's a small world after all. Ironically, I'm sure Martha is starting to cook dinner. If you want, you can help me and my sister with organizing Lilith party tomorrow. My ears perk up at this. It's tomorrow. Yeah, well, Annie wants it as soon as possible. Since my last-minute trip, she canceled it. I much rather she had gone as planned. Abby explains. I am able to chuckle at this. I take it you're not a children person. Abby gives me a wide-eyed look. Don't get me wrong. I love my niece to death, but she is a handful on her own. Not to mention a party consists of more children. Well, I hear there's not too many in the pack. Not much to worry about. Abby rolls her eyes. I guess. But there's going to be one more soon enough. She points to my stomach and I look down to see it already expanding into a rounder bump. I subconsciously put a hand on my stomach, giving it a little pat. Come on, preggers. Let's go eat. Abby says. I don't bother protesting to the name because I know that will only encourage Abby. It was surprisingly a warm day as the list party was set up outside near the hidden waterfall and a sky lake. I teased them on the original name, but the fact was that the waterfall was hidden, situated in a small open area. It was beautiful with pine trees starting to lose their needles, but the lake was breathtaking. It was clear blue, a mirror image of the sky lay across the water. The party was pretty simple with the touch of fairies. There was a food table that was pink, as well as the cupcakes and the calzones that Martha insisted on with a pink filling. I was sitting next to Abby on a lawn chair watching Lily run around with another little girl and a couple little boys. She wore wings and was running as gracefully as possible, waving her arms at her side like she was flying, which I found adorable. Well, this is boring, Abby says dryly. It was 2 hours into the party, which was more of a get-together. How could you say that? Look around Abby, sitting in one of the most beautiful places in the world. I gesture with my hands to our first-class view. I turn to Abby with a smile and her face is scrunched up in disbelief. Have you eaten today? Because you sound like you're off your nut. I chuckle at her comment. Maybe watching Lily so long I have gone off with the fairies. Admit it. Abby says. It's boring. As much as I would like to be positive. Abby has a point. Fine, it's a bit boring. But I am just happy to be out of the house. Being cooped up in the same house all the time agitates me. I was always someone who liked to explore and go out and about. I take a glance to my right to see a worn-out Tummy coming to join us as she sits in a chair beside her sister. She takes the cold water from Abby's grasp and gulps it down by the second. Abby obviously protests. It happened to sisterly love. Annie stops drinking, then smiles at Abby. The cheeky older sisters grin. Sorry, Abby. Can I have some? There was not much sincerity in that sentence. More sarcasm. Abby grumbles to herself, leaning back on her chair. I decide to break the tension. Lily seems really happy. Annie beams. She is. Sean thought it would be a good idea to get her those fairy wings for a present, but I fear she will never ever want to take them off. I laugh. Lily had a passion for fairies beyond any child I had met before. When I babysat her, everything had to do with fairies. To the games we played, her... Abby sits up in her chair, peering behind me. Looks like your baby daddy is here. I scowl at her for saying that and turn my head in the direction of her eyes to see Grant appear, his tall and broad figure standing between Sean and some other parents in the pack. I didn't realize he was coming. I turn back around my chair, not wanting to know what he will say if he finds me staring. After yesterday's revealing of my attempt on his sister's life, I doubt he wants to see me. What do you mean by baby daddy? My head turns, as well as Abby's, to a confused Annie looking at us. I realize then that she defiantly knew I was pregnant. It's easier to tell these days, but she doesn't know the father. Annie's not stupid as she puts two and two together, her mouth forming an O shape as a small gasp escapes her. I sink into my chair, whilst wanting to whack Abby over the head with a cane. When? What? Annie doesn't know what question to ask first as she rambles incoherently. I glare at Abby, who seems puzzled by my anger but soon winces as she realizes. Another thing I should talk to Grant about is what to tell people if they ask about the father. At that moment, Lily comes running up to us. But more specifically, Annie. The other children go to their parents in excitement. Mommy, can we do the payata now? She pleads, her little hands clasped together in a wish. Sweetie, why don't you go ask your daddy? I am sure he will help you with it. Annie says, and I slightly cuss, because now I have to explain to Annie the baby daddy situation. Lily squeals and runs to her father. Annie makes sure her daughter is with her husband before turning her gaze back to us. I think I will go help out. Abby starts to get up, but my hand latches onto her arm, making sure my finger's nails slightly dig into her skin. She is the reason I am in this situation right now. Or not. She winces, sitting back down again. It was months ago when I was staying in New York. Annie gives me a face that wants more details, but that was all I really wanted to give right now. You know, Abby now says in a curious voice. I think I would like to know a bit more about the night you and Grant met. I give her scowl as if to say not helping, but luckily Grant himself decided to greet us, terminating the very awkward conversation on my part. Grant stands above me, and I look up to his face to see a lot less tension woven between his brows than yesterday. It seems like a great turnout today, Annie. Grant states. Annie nods. Yeah, we have pretty great weather. She then tilts her head to the side. We weren't expecting you, Alpha. Did you need anything? Actually, I was wondering if I could borrow Brooke. His gaze goes to mine. Do you mind if I talk to you for a moment? Being apprehensive, I still nod and get out of my seat and follow Grant to walk around the lake. I am glad to get away from Annie and Abby and their praying question. I gaze out into the water as I wait for Grant to start talking. I understand that yesterday you came to my office for a reason, and it might have been forgotten as a few little things got out of hand. I knew that was the best apology I was going to get from Grant's coldness last night, but I think he had a right yesterday to be mad at me. I turn my head to him as we keep walking. I just wanted to tell you the date and time of my next doctor's appointment. I state, and Grant seems surprised, either because he thought it was something bigger or he didn't expect an invitation. Thank you. He'll be more than happy to go. Silence follows and an itchy awkwardness grows between us again. I can't put my finger on it, but I keep the conversation going. Have there been any more sightings of your sister? I keep my voice low, even though we are far away from the party now. With werewolf fears, you never know. Grant seems disappointed as he shakes his head. The last one was a few days ago and on the border of New York City. My sister is good at hiding. When was the last time you saw her? Grant's eyes now seem to carry a painful memory, and I regret asking my question. 9 years ago. Though she was dead. About to ask another question, I stop myself, not liking the raw emotions coming off Grant. So again I decide to change the topic. I think the baby is a boy. I can see a soft smile return on his face. Really? Really? What makes you say that? Instinct. I say simply, and I look over to see Grant chuckle. You don't think so? He shrugs. You know me. Have to see it to believe it. I playfully roll my eyes. You're not even going to guess. I don't like guessing games. He states, and I stare at him. But they're the best ones. I tease. Well, I suppose that means you don't like surprises either. He nods. So at the 20 weeks ultrasound, I would like to find out the gender so we don't have to wait until the baby is born. My steps slow down beside him. He turns, noticing my slower pace. What? How did you know that? I ask. referring to the gender reveal at a 20-week ultrasound, when he rubs his palms together. His nervous gesture. It clicks. You read my book. Part of me is surprised he would take the time to read my pregnancy book. But I feel all happy inside because he cares enough to read it. There is nothing wrong with being prepared, he states and keeps walking. I smile brightly as I catch up to him. You know either way you're going to be surprised if it's a boy or girl. You can't help this surprise. My sentence is cut short as I step on a wound and my balance is lost. I tumble to the right and then next thing I hear a splash. The cool water of the lake invades my senses. Luckily the water is that shallow, but enough to be able to stand as the water reaches around my hips. My clothes are drenched and my hair is stuck to my face. Brooke. I hear Grant call in alarm as I am peeling the hair off of my face to look to see Grant standing at the water's edge. Are you okay? I smile guilty at him. Yeah. Just thought it was a nice day for a swim, that's all. Grant sighs in relief, trying to hide his amused expression as I walk my way back to land. He holds out a hand and I gladly take it as he helps me out. He pulls me closer to his body than expected. His face is mere inches from mine. I didn't take you as a clumsy person. Brooke, this close proximity makes me nervously excited, if that is even an emotion. We all have our moments. I whisper and he smiles softly at me, a smirk tinting his lips. I think you might have had a distraction. He murmurs and the inevitable blush just had to appear on my cheeks then. I look down and away from Grant's intense stare only to have pinched my chin a second later and make me meet his gaze. His eyes hold a mixture of wonder yet hesitation as he looks at me, and I don't know what came over us as the gap between us vanishes in a forgotten moment as our lips lock. And I think that whatever was between us, the awkwardness of not acting or saying how we feel disappears as Grant pulls me closer and deeper into the kiss. Chapter 22. We break apart. Our breaths labored as Grant's hands are wrapped around my waist. Still unsure if this is reality or not, it takes me a moment to realize I have just kissed Grant. Or did he kiss me? Either way, we go back to not knowing what to do or say, and what brings us out is the sound of Grant's phone ringing. He pulls away and takes the call. It being very short, it's a few answers of yes and at the end is on my way. He hangs up, returning his attention to me, still dripping wet from my clumsy fall into the lake. You'll have to go back to the pack house, he says. Right, is all I manage to get out before he seems like he wants to say or turns around and starts walking away. Disappointment sets in as I watch his retreating figure before he stops once again. He spins around, striding towards me, and I don't have a second to realize what is happening before we are kissing again. His lips moving on mine becomes my whole world in that moment. His hands cupping my cheeks. I nearly lose my balance again, but Grant traps an arm around my waist, saving me from another tumble to the lake. Pulling away again, a smile is on his lips, his forehead resting on mine as he pulls my damp hair behind my ears. I bite my lip as he watches me, feeling all bashful. I never was like this with any guy before. Yet Grant has made me a nervous wreck. You like this? It isn't too soon or anything. He seems just as unsure as me on what to say from the spontaneous kiss, but I find myself laugh. Impregnant Grant. I don't think it's too soon. We seem to have done things in the opposite manner anyway. I tease and Grant chuckles at my comment before nodding his head towards where the party is at. Come on. We'll get you dried off, he says, probably noticing me start to shiver in the cooler climate than this morning. As we walk back, Grant places a hand on the small of my back, leading me to the party. Once back to the party, I received a few odd looks, probably looking like a drowned rat. Annie was very motherly in finding me a picnic blanket to wrap me up and to keep warm, while Abby laughs at my clumsiness. They might be sisters, but they sure have different personalities. I had also watched Lily open the present I had gotten her. I had purchased it over a month ago when we went to the mall and had a run-in with two werewolves. It was a little tiled boutique shop and it had a cute fairy wand. It was wooden with a star carved on the end, and it was entangled with vines, leaves and flowers that hung off in an enchanted way. I remember Lily telling me her favorite fairy was the nature fairy, so I thought it would be perfect. But I didn't mind Abby's teasing me as I wore a great big smile on my face for the rest of the day. What happened to me and Grant? The kiss brings back feelings I hadn't ever really felt before with any other man. There is something different about him, and I felt like I was safe with him, even thought we really barely know each other. Right now I am taking a shower, still wearing a smile on my face as I wash my hair, making sure the lake water, although mainly clean, is out of my hair. Feeling like some more dessert. From my cravings I had been having, I walked down to the kitchen. When arriving, I noticed the quietness of the pack house. Normally around 9 o'clock people are still up and about or in the TV room, but it's empty. Walking into the dining area, I find Annie with Martha. However, Annie looks like she is crying. As Martha is trying to calm her down, I notice something is wrong in an instant. Annie, what's wrong? I go to join them as her head whips to me. Brooke, have you seen Lily? She frantically asks me no. I answer and she lets out another sob as Martha comes to comfort her. What's happened? Lily has gone missing. We can't seem to find her in the house, Martha explains, patting Annie's hair as she cries. My own fear for Lilith's safety starts to kick in. Is that where everyone is? Looking for her? I assume because of the barren pack house around me. Annie shakes her head. No, there was an apparent rogue sighting on the border and everyone has gone to check it out, including Sean, who I can't get a hold of. Although, Dom has gone to look for her. She pauses, her eyes then widening in fear. Oh my gosh. What if Lilith's out there and the rogue finds her first? Annie goes back into hysterics as I try to assess the situation. I go back into my old job, as it was to find people. Maybe I can help. Annie, when did you last see her? I question, and Annie takes a moment to compose herself. About an hour ago. I tucked her into bed. She replies. The next obvious question was, do you know where she might have gone? She shakes her head. No, I don't understand. Annie cries some more, but then she seems to have remembered something. No, wait, she was upset because she said she lost the fairy wand you gave her. I said she might have left it at the lake. No more has to be said as it seems pretty clear on where little Lily had gone to. I wouldn't suspect a little toddler to go wandering out into the woods though. From what I have heard, there are 2 routes to the lake, the forest trail and the road. I state, I can take a car and go down the dirt road. Is there anyone still here that can travel down the forest trail? I'll go, dear. Martha says. I am a little surprised, but I nod. Martha then digs into her skirt pocket and pulls out a set of keys. Take my car out back. I take the keys as Annie tries to calm down. What should I do? Wait here in case she comes back. I tell her, don't worry, Annie. If you say the pack is patrolling the forest, there is a chance they might have already found her. I try to sound as reassuring as possible, not wanting to know what she feels right now, but she nods, taking a deep breath. I race upstairs to my room to grab some shoes, before racing back down to the small car park. I click the button on the key set and see the lights of a sleek silver car flash in the dark. I remind myself to compliment Martha on her car choice as I open the door and slide into the seat. I am thankful the car is automatic as I reverse out, hoping driving a car is like riding a bike. I travel slowly down the dirt path, making sure my headlights are on as I scan the forest around me. No sign of Lily or anything to indicate she walked this way. She more than likely walked down the forest trail, it being more familiar to her. I make it to the little car park near the lake and waterfall. I regret not bringing a flashlight as I turn the car off. The light's going out. The full moon does help me see a little better to the small clearing ahead in the water. I get out of the car and walk to the spot we had Lilith's party hours ago. I feel unease walking in the dark, barely being able to see anything. Martha doesn't seem to be here yet. Walking would take longer. I get closer to the lake, my mind making horrible scenarios of Lily accidentally falling and drowning. Thinking that makes me look to the water and scan it to make sure no one is in there. However, the hair on the back of my neck stands up as I hear a twig snap behind me. Thinking it might be Lily, I spin around only to shriek in surprise to see a few feet away from me a huge black wolf. Never in my life had I seen a shadow wolf before. The body's bigger than most wolves. The fur blends into heat darkness, yet its eyes glow bright yellow. I find myself backing up as the wolf stands there. My back hits tree a meter away from the lake and I wince. Grant. I whisper, hoping that me being scared is for nothing and this is just Grant in his wolf form. But the wolf's eyes in front of me squint as if confused. But then the wolf growls and snarls at me, teeth snapping angrily. And I feel my mind remember those yellow eyes from a night in San Francisco. Raina. My heart drops. Chapter 23. I am stunned into silence as Raina prowls forward, her strong legs walking towards me. She continues to growl, recognizing who I am. I suppose Raina is also the rogue that more than half the pack went to look for tonight. Completely helpless without any weapon, and afraid for not only my life but also now the baby in my belly. I stay still. Raina, however, seems to stop a meter away from me, her head tilting to the side as her eyes lower to my stomach. I suck in a breath as she realizes my baby bump. I can hear her sniffing the air as she moves closer, my heartbeat increasing to a high speed. I don't have time to do anything as she leaps up in front of me, one paw resting on the tree trunk behind me, the other paw half on the trunk and on my shoulder. I wince as I feel her claws start to sink into my skin. I try and keep calm as she snarls at me again, her large head inches away from mine, her yellow eyes telling me to be afraid. Before they close and she is sniffing me again. I close my eyes too, thinking that she is about to do some serious damage and it's not worth putting up a fight. When I open my eyes again though, I see a flash of white as Raina is ripped away from me. However, her claws leave a nasty scratch across my shoulder as she is torn away. I cry out, slapping a hand on my shoulder as I already feel the slight wetness of my blood. I look to my left to see a white wolf snapping its jaws at Raina, growling at her with those blue eyes. Abby. A white fur. Another breed of wolf I have seen for the first time tonight. I watch, as Raina gets up, obviously not happy with the sudden attack. Auntie Abby. A little voice says in my head, whips to the right to find Lily with a small blanket in her arms as well as the wand she had come out here searching for. I waste no time, knowing Abby would want me to take Lily a walk over to her, picking her up and resting her my hip. This causes my opposite torn shoulder to protest. I try not to wince as I carry her. What about Auntie Abby? Lily's voice sounds frightened and upset, but I try and reassure her. She is going to be fine. I am pretty sure she can take care of herself. I make it to the car and open the passenger side door, and place Lily into the seat, securing her seat belt around her tiny body. I can see Lily's face concerned as she takes a look at my shoulder, but I smile, hoping she knows everything is all right. I quickly walk around the car, getting into the driver's seat, turning it on and heading back to the pack house. I make sure not to speed, seeing how there is no child seat and Lily shouldn't be sitting in the front. I pull up the front of the pack house to see Annie sitting on the front porch steps. Her head shoots up to the car as I put it into park, turning it off before getting out. I walk to the other side and get Lily out, resting her on my hip again, and walk to her mother. She shrieks, racing up to us, and I don't have to say anything as I give Lily to her mother. Annie holds her tight, cradling her head. Mommy, why are you crying? Lily asks, confused as ever. Because I thought something happened to you, Annie says, turning to me, her face now going into alarm. Brooke, what happened? Referring to my shoulder, I place a hand over the wound again. Long story. I think I am going to go see Drive. Norton arrive. Norton didn't seem surprised to see me, although concern edged his face when seeing my bloodied shoulder. As I managed to take off my shirt, Drive, Norton did a quick check on Lily, just to make sure she was okay from her adventure in the woods. Turns out she was looking for the wand, and Abby had found her by the lake as we had suspected. Once my shirt is off, I am sitting on a bed in my singlet, a little cold, but I finally get a good look at my shoulder in the fluorescent light and cringe. I can't really tell if it's deep or not. Sooner than later, Drive, Norton comes over with a wheelie cart with some water, bandages, and instruments. Great. Can I ask what happened? Drive, Norton questions. I'd explain, skipping over the bit about the rogue being Grant's sister. Well, I'll clean it first. Hopefully you won't need Styke's drive. Norton gets to work, using water and antiseptic to clean my claw marks. As he was working, he asks, "Do you feel all right? Lightheaded or nauseous?" I shake my head. "Only a little tired." I comment and he nods in response. "Normal for blood loss. And pregnant woman." He says, although with a slight edge, "I need to remind you, Brooke, that you should be taking care of yourself and not getting into dangerous situations." He has a point and I just nod, sliding my hand to rest on my belly. I should have been more cautious, but my old self came out tonight. Act first, think later. I can't afford to do that anymore. Although I did it for a good cause. I need to think about these things before acting. After about 5 minutes of a stinging sensation spreading over my right shoulder, drive. Norton sighs as he places the bloody bandages into the small water bowl. The 2 scratches on the outside will scab over, but the middle one will need Styke's, I am afraid. And I don't want to risk injecting a numbing solution because you're pregnant. It's okay. I don't need it. I have had Styke's without it plenty of times. I say. It seems he wants to ask questions on that statement, but doesn't as he turns back to prepare the needle and thread. I haven't had a scratch before, but I've had bullet wounds. The next 10 minutes are painful as I grip the frame of the bed, my knuckles turning white as drive. Norton stikes me up. The feeling of the thread going through my skin stings, as well as wanting to make me throw up. What seems like eternity is when he finishes, wrapping a bandage around my shoulder. Drive. Norton hands me a water bottle. "Drink? You need to keep your fluids up." And he reaches inside his pocket and pulls out a lollipop. For being brave when getting your Styke's. He teases and I can't help but laugh as I take the lollipop from his grasp. "Thank you, Drive." "Norton," I say in a kitty voice, which he laughs at, shaking his head. "Now I hope this is the last scheduled visit I shall be having from you," he says, playfulness gone from his voice. My smile down and I nod my head. "Good. You can stay here tonight just to be safe. I will see if I can get you some food before you go to bed." With that he leaves the room and I let out a huge sigh. Raina? Well, it looks like Grant found his long-lost sister, who hates my guts. I try lie down on the bed, but wince every time because of the pull on my Styke's. In the end I give up, hoping that Drive. Norton will come back so he can help me lie down and possibly get me something warmer to wear, and less revealing. My ears perk up as I hear a commotion in the waiting room outside. A little concerned, I am about to walk out and see what the fuss is when the door to the hospital wing section is slammed open. Grant stands there wide-eyed, scanning the room until he finds me, sitting on the side of the bed in a singled, my shoulder nearly torn off, which is a little over-exaggerated. I can see the tension leave his face when seeing me, and I'd read the conversation that is bound to happen next. He walks around the other beds until he is standing in front of me. "Abby told me what happened," he states his I been wandering down to my bandaged shoulder. "It's just a few Styke's at feast time." I wave it off, having dealt with worse. "So how was the reunion with your sister?" "It must have gone better than mine." I try and pull a joke, although Grant doesn't smile. "It was going good, until Abby told me what she had done to you." I sigh. "Grant, if I am honest, I don't blame her for the way she acted. I mean, last time I saw her I had a gun pointed at her head. And what a surprise to find her attack her a year later at the middle of the woods on the other side of the country." I see Grant processing what I have just said, although tension still remains. I reach out with my good arm and take his hand in mine. Grant seems surprised by the gesture, but he squeezes my hand back, coming to stand closer to me. Without a word, he leans forward and plants a kiss on my forehead. I close my eyes, savoring his closeness. "No more reckless things, Brooke," he whispers, and I open my eyes as he takes a small step back to look at me. I don't think my heart can take the surprises and guessing games of if you're alright anymore. I pull a little smile. "You really don't like surprises, huh?" Grant raises his eyebrows as if looking for a different answer. I sigh. "No more reckless behavior." Besides, I will be out of action for a while. I point to my shoulder and Grant sadly smiles at it. It doesn't hurt. I wave it off again. Even though there is a dull throb. It will be fine. Drive. Norton can't really give me pain relief because of the pregnancy. I have had a lot worse. I know. He states boldly, which of my head titling to the side in question. He notices and he reaches out with his hand to my other shoulder. He gently pulls the strap of my singlet aside to show a small circular star close to my armpit. The night in New York. I remember seeing it. Forcing down the blush, I ask, "Why didn't you say anything?" Paying close attention, you could easily tell it was a bullet wound. Grant, however, chuckles. We weren't partially sober that night, Brooke. I was preoccupied, if you know what I mean. This time a blush blares on my cheeks as I avert my gaze from Grant's for a few seconds. Composing myself. When I look back at him, he is watching me. A satisfied smirk on his lips. I better get back to debriefing the pack on what's happened. You'll be okay. He asks and I nod in response. With that, he says a goodbye. Before he can make it to the door, I call him back. Wait. He turns around. Do you mind helping me lie down? I ask, hopeful. He furrows his eyebrows but walks back to me. I thought you said you weren't in pain. He questions as he helps me lie down, easing my back gently onto the bed. I just don't want to pull my stakes. I explain when comfortably under the cover on the bed. With Grant's help, I'll see you tomorrow. He says, one more kiss on the forehead before finally leaving. Turn off the lights as he walks out and shuts the door. What a day. Chapter 24. What I thought would be an overnighter in the medical clinic turned out to be a few days' drive. Norton knew it easier because he had to redress my scratch wound and make sure it didn't get infected. He informs me it's healing well, and he can take out the stakes soon. I have had a few visits from different people, Annie and Sean, who were very grateful, and I was excited to see Lily doing all right when she came in and showed me a dance with her wand and new fairy outfit from her birthday. When Abby came, I didn't forget to thank her a few times from that night. Abby didn't want that much praise, as she says it's too dramatic. Grants came every day, sometimes twice when he gets the chance. It's just nice to talk to him. When I bring up his sister, Raina, I can tell he is happy to be back, but I don't think he quite yet has forgiven her for my shoulder yet. Right now I am taking an afternoon nap, seeing how I have to catch up on sleep. The first couple nights it took me a while to drift off because of the throb in my shoulder. About to finally shut my eyes, I hear the light creak off the door. Blinking my eyes open, I manage to sit up against my pillow as I spot the figure. When I see their face, my heart rate picks up as I reach my hand under my pillow. I may have borrowed a scalpel from Drive, Norton, to use as a defense weapon. After all the trouble I am getting into, I thought it's safe to be prepared. Raina walks further into the room, wearing simple jeans and a loose tee, certain for the first time she isn't wearing a cap. Her pale green eyes, exactly like Grant, watch me. Just probably already noticed my hand slipped under the pillow. Well, she speaks first. Her voice different from when I met her. Less aggressive. It's good to see you, all right. Should I be worried? I ask, gripping the scalpel in my hands. But Raina just laughs, more nervously than anything. I really screwed up the other night. Well, you screwed up my shoulder, I state, my hand relaxing around the scalpel. She bites her lip. My wolf can be a bit temperamental sometimes. It's not every day you see the last person you're expecting. And when you said Grant's name, from our history, I thought you had done something to him. I nod along, accepting her reasons, although the awake tension still surrounds us. So I state, is there something I can help you with? I try not to sound rude, although every time I had been around this woman, it's not normally a happy ending. She sighs, coming to sit on the chair beside my bed. Grant told me everything. It looks like I am going to be an auntie soon. She smiles again. I can see she is trying to move forward from our beginnings, and I guess this is a good start. I move my hand away from under the pillow and rest it on my stomach, growing by the day. Yeah, I hope you're planning on sticking around, I state. She smiles. I've lost 9 years with my brother. I don't plan on going anywhere soon. I have an itch to ask about her past. Grant's past and their family, but I realize I don't really have a right. Grant's happy you're back, I say, and she playfully rolls her eyes. Sure he is. He is still mad that I attacked you. He'll get over it. He takes time to process things. I explain and she nods with a smile. Her eyes then travel to my shoulder. Is it all right? She asks, some concern in her voice. I wave it off as usual. It's fine. I'm just glad it's still attached. I joke, trying to lighten the mood, and she chuckles. I was wondering if you were going to pull some of your defense moves on me or without a gun, she says, and I can hear the curiosity in her voice. She must be thinking how I got from active agent a year ago too. Well, pregnant. Those days are behind me. I guess I got you to thank for that. I say, pondering on my thoughts, but when I see her tilt her head in question, I elaborate. After that night in the Ally, I realized what I was doing. As you put it, the dirty work. I got out when I realized I was harming my own kind. Raina watches me confused. You're a werewolf. I bite my lip whilst shaking me head. My father was a werewolf. My mother was human. She stares at me wide-eyed. Wow. I arch an eyebrow at her. Sorry, it's just I have never met anyone like that before. I have nothing else to say. I find it odd that Raina finds it fascinating when others made fun of it. I guess that's one thing I like about her. The conversation stops as I spot Grant in the doorway. Surprise in his eyes as he walks into the room. Raina must notice as she turns in her chair. She immediately gets up when seeing him. She turns back to me with a smile. Sorry again. I'm glad you are okay, she says, stepping out of the chair. He'll see you around. You bet, I say back. She smiles and seems relieved as she turns. She stops near Grant, but he doesn't as she waits. I hear her sigh before she brushes past him and exits the room. Last time you saw her, she nearly ripped your arm off, and now you acting like best friends, he states, crossing his arms over his chest. Last time you saw her was 9 years ago. You would have done anything to find her, and now you can't stand the sight of her, I say, making him eat his words. Grant tenses his jaw, and by that I know I have made a point. My mood swings have made me rather snappy. Not to mention being in the same room for nearly a week has been a contributing factor. I'm not only mad at her because of the other night. Grant says coming to sit in the chair Raina had just sat. I widen my eyes for him to elaborate, and he sighs. I asked her the obvious question of where she has been all these years. It was only about a year ago I knew she was alive. But that is 8 years I have no recognition of where she was and what she was doing. I can see the paranoia in that. But I don't think she needs to tell him everything. And maybe I am just thinking that because I have secret of my own I like to keep hidden. But I don't say my true feelings. Just give her time. She is provably wondering what you have also been up to. I comment and I see him get annoyed by that statement. Look, Grant, if I can forgive her attacking me, then early you can. He sighs, and that's the only answer I am going to get. I talked to Drive, Norton, just before. Grant changes the topic. Yeah, he says you can get your stikes out tomorrow and be released. I want to do a leap of joy, but thought best not to. Probably have to stay in here for a while longer if I damaged my shoulder further. Then I furrow my eyebrows. Why did you ask Drive? Norton. Grant rubs his hands together. His nervous gesture. I wanted to take you somewhere tomorrow. Not far, but around the territory. As in a date. My heart does a little flutter. If that's how you would like to put it. He smirks. I playfully tap my chin in thought. I would love to go, but... I pause, and Grant seems to be sitting on the edge of his seat. You have to go forgive your sister. Grant's smile drops as he sighs out in annoyance. Blackmail. You know it. I wink, and it cracks a smile on Grant's face. He chuckles. Fine. But only because it's you. Chapter 25. That was funny. I remind Grant as he leads me through an unfamiliar forest trail in the early hours of the night. I was released from the medical clinic a few hours ago. Grant insisted I rest up before he took me to the mystery destination. Of course it was. I never thought you would manage to fall into a lake. He chuckles, looking over to me with an annoyed pout on my lips. He laughs more. Whatever, we have all had our clumsy moments. I finish the topic and start a new one. So where exactly are we going? Grant smiles as if he was keeping a secret. You'll see. I roll my eyes. How long do we have to go until we make it to this secret location? Finally, we stop right in front of a weaving curtain of leaves. I think we might have gone off the trail, but Grant turns to me with a smile. He takes my hand and starts walking to the bushes. Too confused to say anything, I am guided through the leaves as they brush against my skin. I didn't realize the bush was so dense, and I am thankful in the dark I am still holding Grant's hand. When the leaves disappear from our sides, I stop in my track, floating yellow lights dancing in the small opening in the forest. I watch them for a while, my lightly anxious mood fading in the peacefulness of the scene in front of me. Fireflies. I whisper, turning my head to Grant, who is already watching me. He nods in response, excitement dwelling in his eyes. How did you find this place? It was a lucky find when I was patrolling. Stumbled upon it. Still holding my hand, he guides me further into the clearing until we stand in the middle. I turn slowly to be surrounded by the little lightning bugs to glow like stars that don't belong in the sky. Are they like this every night? I question. When looking at Grant, he rubs the back of his head. No, it was a gamble to see if they were here. Checked an hour before I came and got you. So where would you have taken me if the fireflies didn't come out? He chuckles nervously before answering. Good question. I laugh at his words, turning to admire the view again that surrounds us. Sooner than later, I was lying down on the grass, Grant doing the same as we stare up at our own personal constellation of lights, meters above our heads. Grant, I whisper, afraid my loud voice scared the fireflies away. Yes. A quiet reply. Where are you from? There is a pause before he answers. England. Furrowing my eyebrows, I turn my head to look at him. You don't sound English. How about now? He tries being the key word, to do a British accent, which I find myself laughing at. That was crap. I comment and he laughs with me. When we calm down, he continues. I was young when my parents decided to move to America. So young I barely remember anything from my pack back in England. Was your pack like you? All shadows? I question, finding my curiosity guiding my questions. Yes, the Underwood pack. I stop for a moment, the name registering in my mind before I let out a little gasp. You're from the Underwood pack. Grant seems surprised by my reaction of the name as his head turns to me. His face confused. Yes, you've heard of it. A small, yet sad smile forms on my face. My father used to tell me stories of the mighty Shadow Pack in England. The way he told them made them sound like legends and myths compared to real werewolves. Underwood Pack, he used to say. One of the oldest but most deadliest packs to face in the world. The pack might be bedtime stories soon. I don't know if there is anyone left over there. Grant whispers his dark thought and the conversation ceases. But when he speaks up again, I find myself surprised and relieved that I hadn't pushed him too far with his past. My sister said when you saw her in her wolf form the other night, it was like you had seen a ghost. Well, in my old pack there was no wolf like you or Raina. I mean, there was just tracker wolves and some red coats from the desert. I explain. As I said, shadows seemed like myths to us. Black fur as dark as night, and eyes like fireflies. Silence falls upon us again, and I hadn't realized why until I had turned my head to look at Grant. But instead I found an empty patch of grass beside me. Alarmed again, I get up into a sitting position and whip my head around to see if I can spot him. What has me more puzzled is the pile of clothes near the exit to the clearing. 8-Wig Snappy alerts me back in front of me. When a wolf with fur black as night and eyes like fireflies appears through the trees across from me, I allow myself to calm down. Grant's wolf form is bigger than Raina's. And another difference from his sister is that he isn't looking at me as if I was his next target. His eyes search around the opening. His eyes the yellow brightness of the fireflies, and it could be a perfect picture if I had bought a camera. He slowly prowls towards me. and I feel honored that Grant would want to show me his wolf form. His huge head comes to nuzzle the side of my body and I laugh, carefully running my fingers through his midnight fur. It's softer than expected and I scratch behind his ears, which causes a pleading whine to come out of Grant. I chuckle softly as I look down to see the real reason Grant is nuzzling my side. I see his eyes focus on my rounded belly as he brushes the side of his head against it gently. His eye close and I can't help but feel my heart falling for him a little harder. But that moment is over as I feel something I hadn't felt before. My hand stopped on the top of Grant's head and he notices my stillness. His eyes reopen in concern as the emotion swirling through them. I think, I whisper, as if I was afraid to say it. I felt the baby move. My hand goes to my stomach where I felt an odd sensation in my belly, as if someone was mooching around in there. I was so mesmerized by the experience I didn't realize now that there was other hands spread out on my stomach. We wait in silence, until it happens again. I let out a small gasp as I also feel Grant's hands tense on my stomach. That feels weird. Grant gets out and I find myself chuckling. You think, I say with a smile, and Grant looks up to me, our eyes meeting as he laughs too, not daring to remove his hands. His eyes go back to my stomach as I feel his thumb moving in soothing circles against, and to my horror of when I lower my eyes, I slap a hand across them. Moments over. Grant, yeah. He answers as if I hadn't forcefully blocked my vision. You're naked. I exclaim so. I can hear the teasing in his voice, but that still doesn't make me laugh. Grant, I whine, and there is a sigh before I feel his hands disappear. I wait a few moments before removing my hand to find Grant in his jeans again, although with no shirt. I didn't mind. That was a highlight of this evening. He smiles, and to my disappointment he puts on his shirt again. My hormones are all over the place these days. I didn't expect that to happen so soon. It was too much of a surprise for you. I tease, knowing his hate of surprises and guessing games. He playfully glares at me. It was unexpected, he remarks, but it was worth the shock. I laugh, shaking my head. This is truly a night to remember.